the opportunity to travel and to go.
Climate change is the most significant challenge to achieving sustainable development, and it threatens to drag millions of people into grinding poverty. At the same time, we have never had better know-how and solutions available to avert the crisis and create opportunities for a better life for people all over the world. Climate change is not just a long-term issue, it's happening today, and it entails uncertainties for policymakers trying to shape the future. Natural disasters have been intensified and also deeply affecting the islands in the Caribbean. Temperature rise, the melting poles, and therefore water rise implicate a risk for current habitats within the islands. Although climate change is a major player of the increased flooding in my island, the increased level of indiscriminate dumping of plastic in our rivers is of major concern. The cutting of trees on slopes. Because of the flooding in our lowlying areas, this has affected the agriculture sector tremendously. The energy sector in St. Lucia is St. Lucia's largest source of GHGs, followed by the transport sector. Like all small island developing states, St. Lucia faces an uncertain future as a consequence of both the emerging and anticipated impacts of global climate change on all aspects of its development. These include, but are not limited to, threats to coastal infrastructure and economic assets from sea level rise, the impacts of more intense and possibly more frequent extreme weather events, negative impacts on human and ecosystem, health, water, food production, and financial services sector. Changes in rainfall distribution intensify, resulting in both floods and droughts, degradation of coastal resources, and saline intrusion into aquifers. Some of these impacts are already being felt, resulting in high outlays of financial resources for corrective and restorative measures. Negative impacts on livelihoods, pressures on public sector finances, and loss of life. In addition, St. Lucia, like other seas, faces the prospect of irreversible and permanent loss and damage resulting from human-induced climate change, despite best efforts at adaptation and mitigation. I have realized that coastal and marine resources are the greatest risk from the effects of climate change due to, in large measure, to the fact that coastal ecosystems such as coral reefs are very sensitive to changes in temperature, and sea level rise, which is one of the primary anticipated results of climate change, will affect numerous ecosystems as well as the coastline itself. Impacts are expected to include inundation of coral reefs, seagrass beds, and mangrove swamps as a result of sea level rise, erosion of beaches and coastal lands due to sea level rise and changing coastal processes, loss of fish reproduction due to increased sea temperatures and sea level rise, fish kills and coral die-off due to increased sea water temperatures. In order to address impacts of climate change on coastal and marine resources, we would have to ensure that collaboration with other entities to ensure the continuation, expansion, and strengthening of coastal monitoring and data collection activities in order to improve decision making. Promote and facilitate the undertaking of national assessment of coastal areas and resources at risk. Adopt short, medium, and long-term measures to protect coastal lands and to increase the resilience of coastal ecosystem and resources. Promote and enable the restoration of damaged or destroyed coastal resources and coastal ecosystem. Develop comprehensive national land use and management plan. Identify and promote alternative fishery and resource use activities. Foster increased awareness and knowledge on the part of the general public regarding climate change impacts on the coastal and marine environment. I would also want to assist with the creation of an adaptation policy to foster and guide a national process of addressing the short, medium, and long-term effects of climate change in a coordinated, holistic, and participatory manner in order to ensure that, to the greatest extent possible, the quality of life of the people of St. Lucia and opportunities for sustainable development are not compromised. Some of the challenges would be in getting the communities to play their part in ensuring that they take the necessary corrective actions to help with combating climate change. I wish to inform the government and my fellow St. Lucians that we need to get involved, be energy efficient, choose renewable power, eat wisely, trim your waste, let polluters pay, fly less, get involved, green your commute. Climate change is not one person's or country's problem, but ours, and if we play our part, the plan can return to where it used to be.